The world of Xbox is in a total mess. There's a stack of reports that first-party Xbox games are coming to PlayStation. The community is hopping mad about it. Disgusted Xbox influencers are quitting. And Phil Spencer? Well, he's been vague and won't confirm or deny anything until later this week. There's also been tears.
Should be crying, but I just can't let it go.
But in amongst all that, there are signs that point to a very different future for Xbox, where it's less and less about the hardware and more, or even only about the games.
You know, it's like, let's just start off by saying this. And I'll ask Rich, do you think Xbox really cares about their console anymore, or more about where you can play their games?
So, what are those signs? Let's start with the most obvious one, the apparent end or slow death of the Xbox exclusive. Here's what we know. The first-party games reported to be heading into enemy PS territory are Starfield, Gears of War, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Hi-Fi Rush, and Sea of Thieves. Community site Xbox Era broke the Starfield story at the weekend. Sources told Editor-in-Chief John Clark the game would make the jump to PS after the Shattered Space expansion is released on Xbox and PC at some point later this year.
We've also been informed that Microsoft have made additional investment into PlayStation 5 dev kits to support ongoing development efforts, adding further fuel to the fire.
Why would Microsoft do this? Jeff Grubb from Giant Bomb and Game Mess Mornings has a theory.
There was a ton of conversation. Is Starfield going to be exclusive? That was like a conversation for years and years, because that's going to be beneficial to Game Pass. That was the reasoning then. And that meant, no, for real, like real deal exclusive, never coming to PlayStation. At that time, that's what it meant. Something has obviously changed. Mike, if I had to point at one key thing here, I would say they were probably hoping that Starfield would have done better than it did.
Next came the news from The Verge that the new Indiana Jones game might also launch on PS5, a few months after its debut on Xbox and PC. Microsoft sources told The Verge senior editor Tom Warren a new multi-platform approach for certain Xbox games was emerging inside Microsoft. And in the last week, data miners offered up some decent proof Hi-Fi Rush was indeed coming to PS5 and Switch. These t-shirt files in the game's latest update included a "I'm Here Baby" in PlayStation Blue, a "Rock Out Anywhere" in Nintendo Switch Red, and "Shadow Dropped" in Xbox Green. The Sea of Thieves story has been around about a month and comes from respected gaming reporter Stephen Totillo, who said Microsoft had looked into launching Sea of Thieves on PlayStation. Totillo could not confirm if this was still an active plan, however. He was backed by Grubb.
I'll say I've heard that was one that might be coming to other platforms.
Then, this week, Grubb broke a few more Xbox hearts with this.
Like when we first started talking about this a few weeks ago, Mike, it was, hey, yeah, Hi-Fi Rush makes a lot of sense. Sea of Thieves, that's 6 years old. That makes a ton of sense. And like I think we said Pentiment at the time. Well, Pentiment also being considered. That's an obvious one, right? Okay, but the other one that I've heard is definitely under consideration, doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's in talks, is Gears of War. Gears of War is like being considered for this, and that's like, it's Halo than Gears of War, right? In terms of like icons of Xbox.
In terms of actual legacy Xbox franchises. Like,
there's been no official confirmation of these PS5 moves, but when no first-party marquee Xbox game has ever been ported to PlayStation, and then in the space of a weekend, 3 leaks about big titles coming to PS drop, something is definitely going down. And most don't think it bodes well for Xbox.
If Xbox is just releasing its games on PlayStation, it gets pretty hard to imagine why people buy an Xbox instead of a PlayStation.
So I understand why many people are looking at what Xbox is doing and saying, why are you doing this? Nobody's going to want to buy an Xbox. And they know that.
And some in the community just gave up. The end of Xbox as we know it is inevitable. Clobril said he was pulling back.
Morning, Twitterverse. Seems like these rumors are true. Reached out this morning to a couple of people who are in the know. It seems like these rumors are true. As a fan and a supporter of the brand for 20 years, I put hundreds of thousands of dollars into this brand over time. It does feel like a bit of a betrayal.
Internal strife over the new Anything Goes platform strategy is said to be behind the leaks. These are insiders unhappy with the change, perhaps trying to get it shelved. But why leak now? Well, It seems Microsoft was planning to announce this new strategy later this month. So were the disgruntled leakers getting in first? That announcement has now been brought forward to this week, which brings us to sign number 2. If big change was not afoot and these potential moves to PS5 weren't true, wouldn't Phil just say so? But there was no immediate denial, just a vague statement. We're listening, we hear you. We've been planning a business update event for next week, where we look forward to sharing more details with you about our vision for the future of Xbox. Stay tuned. That's from Xbox boss Phil Spencer. When the shit is hitting the fan and theories on your grand plans are leaking left and right, a company would usually front-foot it to limit the damage and take control of the message. Hey community, this is true, this is not true, but here's what we're actually doing. Even at a behemoth like Microsoft Gaming, it would be possible to rally such a response. There would be a whole shit hits the fan team. So why wait at all? Well, I've been inside companies during events like these, and I can't see many possibilities here. Either Microsoft is incompetent at handling a crisis, which I don't think is true, or what is in play has so many moving parts and is so potentially aggravating to the users that Microsoft can't announce it immediately. I think it has to be that second option. Perhaps there are other corporate players involved in the big controversial announcement, which would explain why it isn't really possible to bring it forward. The third sign is the background noise around this week's leaks. Chatter about the demise of the Xbox console that has been gathering steam for the last few years, and the corporate conditions Microsoft Gaming has to weather, such as Microsoft doesn't make money from its consoles.
I just think that Xbox has had enough of the console wars and we're moving into the IP wars. And this is something I talked about for the last couple of years. They're not worried about the consoles anymore because Xbox Game Pass is not like exploding everywhere all over our faces, but it's still gaining traction. And eventually you'll be able to play your Xbox games everywhere. You know, you'll be able to play it on your phone, your TV, your fridge, whatever Xbox Game Pass can run on over the cloud. That's the future of gaming. So it's no longer about a console, it's more about the IP wars.
PS and Switch sell better than Xbox?
They have lost the console generation twice.
Microsoft said that themselves in their court battle over their $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard.
So, this is home now. Home.
And some say Xbox just hasn't had the games to keep people coming back.
Xbox was known for being a shooter console. However, when Gears of War and Halo don't evolve with the times, well, it makes it really difficult for them to be a springboard for that console to continue to succeed.
Microsoft has been a rabid buyer of game studios in the last few years, and it's got its hands on a stellar set of game IP. The Elder Scrolls, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, Overwatch, Minecraft, the list goes on. But with Blizzard, it was forced into a drawn-out legal dance with Sony over access to games like Call of Duty on PlayStation. It's hard to see any corporate having an appetite to do that all over again with every new IP. Perhaps they'd rather ditch the hardware altogether. And then there's this.
The future of gaming has nothing to do with hardware.
Gamers are moving on.
I like playing video games. Like, that's the most important part, playing the video game. So whether I play on Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox.
I am an anti-exclusivity Andy. I hate it. I'm sick and tired of not being able to play all of my games in one place.
But then, did we ever really need to read the signs? Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella pretty much told us this was happening back in December.
We think that now we have the ability to really do what we've always set out to do, which is build great games and deliver them to folks across all platforms, right? Which is Xbox and consoles, the PCs, and now even including mobile gaming and cloud gaming.
Just as we've been recording this video, Microsoft has announced it will discuss its vision for the future of Xbox this Thursday. You've been watching Polymos News. Please subscribe.